Hello, everyone, and welcome back to, Armored Warfare. And this is kind of my go to game recently, as I really haven't been playing World of Warplanes that much. But because I have so many replays still lying around from World of Warplanes, that's why I'm still doing World of Warplanes content. However, this is really where I'm spending most of my time recently, and I kind of wanted to send out an invitation to any and all who care to join Armored Warfare. Now, if you haven't played Armored Warfare, many people compare this game very closely to World of Tanks. It's not often referred to as or compared to War Thunder. It's much more closely compared to World of Tanks. Now, I can definitely understand why it's compared to World of Tanks, but in my personal opinion, it's very different from World of Tanks. It offers many things and fixes many things about World of Tanks, and it really doesn't feel like World of Tanks with quote unquote modern vehicles. Um, so, yeah, this is basically, as most people refer to it, modern version of World of Tanks. I don't entirely see it that way, but yeah. For those who haven't played this game, I do want to kind of give you kind of what you can expect from this game and kind of give you a tour of the garage, I suppose, to kind of show you what to expect. So, the first thing I want to bring to your attention is the different modes that you can play in the game. There's a bunch of different modes, but for all intents and purposes, there are two main modes. There's either PvE missions, where you're doing cooperative stuff with a team against AI bots. So that's one grouping. And the second grouping is PvP. And that is where you have player versus player. So World of Tanks type style. This random battle is identical to World of Tanks for the most part. However, because there are fewer players, you can actually get fewer than 15v15 battles. However, currently, if you're playing tier 7, you can actually get PvP battles 15v15 fairly consistently as long as you're playing during prime time. So, there's that. Now, global operations is a little bit different. This is very similar to World of Warplanes Conquest mode in the sense that there are bots, or neutral territory bots, I guess, that you could compare them to air defense planes. But you also have these three sectors, at least on the map that I'm familiar with. There's three sectors that you're trying to fight for control. However, you don't exclusively gain points from capturing those sectors, although you get consistent points when you're holding onto those sectors. But you can also gain points for destroying enemy vehicles. Neutral vehicles also give you points. And then there's also these wild cards. And wild cards, I guess, could be. You know what? Let's say this. The sectors are garrisons in World of Warplanes, where they have no benefit except to give points on a continuous basis. That's how all the sectors work in this mode. However, special sectors like factories and airstrip or airfields, the stuff that gives you bonuses, or military bases, those extra bonuses are called wild cards, and they're not tied directly to points. They're not directly tied to that type of stuff. Instead, you get wild cards such as bomber formations or bomber strikes. You have a drone that will spot enemy vehicles for you, and you have bunkers, which will just shoot a bunch of rockets at tanks when you activate it. And you go around and you can pick up those wild cards and do it. So that's kind of what global operations is. There's respawns. It's very similar to Conquest, and it is quite fun. However, I haven't been able to get into a global ops or a glops battle since I started playing, so it's not highly popular. You'd probably have to wait till a specific event for global operations occurred in order to actually get battles on global operations. Then we come to PvE, and if you look, there are different levels of challenge for PvE. You either have standard, challenging, or hardcore. And this is where you have 5 allies on your team and you're just going around doing specific tasks um, defined by the game for each map. So you just kind of go around and complete objectives with those 5 players and try to complete it. Hardcore can be very difficult. It's not super hard for me. I can usually win probably about 75% or more, at least with it, just because I know the maps fairly well and know where to go and what to expect. But for someone who's just starting out, hardcore can be quite challenging. And yeah, that is that. It's very simple. This is kind of the main appeal of Armored Warfare, is their PvE missions. And then they also have this story mode. And story mode, at least the Black Sea Incursion, which is what they have going on right now, is broken into 3 different chapters. And you complete chapter 1 to go to chapter 2 to go to chapter 3. So yeah, it's not too extravagant. It's but they're very tricky. They can be quite challenging until you kind of learn the ins and outs of the story mode. So that's kind of what the game has to offer in terms of content. We can also take a look at the vehicles. The vehicles are broken down into 4 different dealers, and I guess the way to compare the dealers in this game would be to the nations in World of Tanks, where each nation has different tech trees. In this game, each dealer is not limited to one nation. Instead, it can be a whole culmination of nations. So as you can see, we have American main battle tanks, and we have German main battle tanks all in the same one. And in fact, where'd the Ariete go? I think the Ariete is actually gone, or premium, or I don't know. The Ariete used to be in the game. I don't know exactly where it is now, but yeah, that's that. And then we have other vehicles. But anyway, you're kind of breaking it down into different groups of tanks that have similar play styles. And the first 2 are very fleshed out. The Shishkin and the Wolfie are very fleshed out. The Zhangfang is actually fairly fleshed out as well. And then the Oscar Faraday is their newest one. And I'm pretty sure they're going to add Israeli tanks in the near future to this line. Or into this branch, this dealer, I suppose. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, just like World of Tanks, you start at Tier 1, and you unlock the next vehicles and so forth. One other thing to mention is... what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so there are 4 different types of vehicles in this game. Or sorry, 5. There's 5 different types. You have main battle tanks, light tanks, AFVs, artillery, and tank destroyers. So, if we're going to compare it to World of Tanks, you can think of the main battle tanks as your heavy tanks. They typically have a large amount of armor. They're slower, with a high caliber gun with fairly decent alpha, but low rate of fire. That's kind of the theme with main battle tanks. And so they can compare to heavy tanks in World of Tanks. Then you have light tanks, which I would compare to medium tanks in World of Tanks, and those basically have very little armor to some armor, depending on the vehicle. But their guns are about the same strength as main battle tanks, but they fire twice as fast. And because of that, you're trading armor for speed and faster rate of fire. So that's kind of the trade-off. Very comparable to medium tanks and World of Tanks, in my opinion. And then AFVs, which are armored fighting vehicles, those can be very closely connected to light tanks in World of Tanks. And those, unlike World of Tanks, actually have very potent guns, but they have practically no armor whatsoever. But yeah, you can load couple different weapon variants, and it works out pretty well. So there's that. Now artillery is PvE exclusive, so when you're playing versus players, you will never have to worry about artillery. And even in PvE mode, the only PvE mission that has artillery in it is the story mode second one, and they tell you exactly where the artillery are and when they spawn. So you can go and take them out as soon as they spawn, no problem. So you will almost never have to worry about artillery in this game unless you are the one that's playing them. And there's only one line of artillery in the game, and that's just here. In my opinion, this is a very good thing. Artillery have very high alpha damage. When the game first was released, this was not the case. But basically, once they made them PvE exclusive, they changed their parameters and kind of was like, well, let's just make them more powerful and not try to balance them against each other because, well, they're not going to be fighting each other anymore. So that's kind of cool. And then the final type of vehicle are tank destroyers, and they compare most closely to tank destroyers in World of Tanks. It's very obvious. They usually have a multitude of armor. Sometimes they have lots of armor, sometimes no armor. But their main thing is their gun, and they are able to dish out the most damage tier for tier. So that is kind of the types of vehicles in the game. There's also different features because these are main battle tanks. You actually have a lot of different choices. So let's see if I can find a vehicle that has different choices of ammunition. Maybe this light tank. So you have AP, FSDS, or anything that's the ammo is blue is basically your high penetration, low damage ammunition type. Heat is it's got lower penetration but higher damage output, and your HEP, it's kind of like high explosive, but it does a lot of critical damage and it actually has fairly decent penetration. So HEP shells actually in this game, or HESH also in this game, works pretty well. And then you also have high explosive, which is orange, and high explosive is basically useless in this game, so don't use high explosive or any variant of high explosive. But there is a different type of gun or ammo type, and that is ATGMs, which are basically either self-guided or manually guided rockets, missiles that you can shoot from either your gun or a rocket launcher, and yeah, those are pretty nice. So that's kind of different. There's also different types of armor. I don't really want to go into it, but let's just say different armor is more effective at blocking different types of ammunition. So once you kind of learn the different armor layouts of the vehicles and learn your own ammunition value and strengths and weaknesses, you can make very good use of it. Now, unlike World of Tanks, you actually don't have any premium ammunition. All ammunition is unlockable and is purchasable just like standard ammunition. There is no premium ammunition, which is amazing. So as you can see on this one, I was able to unlock better APFSDS, which is armor piercing, fin stabilizing, discharging sabot. I got better ATGM and better heat ammunition. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, that is really about it. It's very similar UI wise to World of Tanks, and mechanically it has similarities, it has parallels to World of Tanks. However, World of Tanks doesn't have PvE, it doesn't have ATGMs, it doesn't have special armor types like caged armor and ERA armor. And it also doesn't have APS, which knocks down rockets. So basically, for every type of ammunition, there is a hard counter system, whether it be just an actual armor that's on it or a system that's designed to destroy that round. So I think that's really cool. It adds a lot of strategy, and because most of these vehicles are fairly mobile, they can make the maps much larger, which allows strategy for where you position your vehicles and so forth. So that is really the main thing about this game that appeals to me, is that it's it is mechanically like World of Tanks, but the economy is much better, and the mechanics I feel are much better and much more concrete. I also want to quick mention that you have consumables on here. I have a field rebuild kit, which is exclusive to PvE, but it can restore all of your ammunition and all of your health if you use it. Otherwise, it grants a respawn if you are killed without using it. So there's that. Then you have retrofits, which are basically equipment modules in World of Tanks. I think they are a little bit overpriced, especially for lower tier. The only ones that would really matter are like 3 million credits a piece, which I think is a little bit crazy. And some of the retrofits, some of the good retrofits, you can only unlock through an upgrade module on some of the vehicles. So that, I thought that was kind of a cool appeal of the game. I know that others may not see it as that way, but I think it's kind of cool. And then the economy in this game, I do want to mention Armored Warfare really cares about giving you lots of ways to earn extra experience and extra credits per battle. They just recently had a ×5 event for PvP, so I was making outrageous experience per battle. They also had an event booster going on right up here that granted ×2 experience for every single battle. So you stack that on top of your ×5 for PvP, and you're making a lot of experience. And then on top of that, if you go up here, there's actually what they call boosters, and you can unlock those through game events, or just a bunch of other stuff. And some of these are really good. You can put 2 boosters. One of them is free, is the global slot. The premium slot, you do have to use gold. But honestly, you make a ton of gold just from doing events. So it's not too bad, honestly. I've been using premium slots almost daily with the gold that I've been given, and it's just not bad. I don't even have to put money into the game, and I can run premium slot consume or boosters. And then on top of that, you also have insignias, which are basically consumables that give you bonuses. So you can mount one of each type of bonus per battle. You can auto resupply if you want. I'm working on experience. I'll probably take that off because I don't want that right now. But yeah, there's that. And so when you're stacking all these things, and if they say, oh, there's going to be a 25% credit event or a 50% credit event right now, and then you stack it with your boosters and your insignias, you are making outrageous credits. So although the economy seems a little bit janky from all this pricing, like 22.5 million for a tier 10, that does seem like a lot, but it's really not that bad when you have premium vehicles and all that type of stuff. But yeah, this was about it. I don't want to go into too much depth, but I do want to just mention that one other thing, the crews are a little bit different. So your crew is specific to your tank, and that is these 2 guys right here. These are explicitly for that vehicle. You cannot transfer them. The max level is level 5, and it actually doesn't take that long to get to level 5. To get to level 2, it's like 1 battle and you're at level 2. And level 2 allows you to put 1 skill on your tanker or your crew, which is really cool. And then when you get to level 4, you can put another skill on, and level 5 is the highest. But you can only put 2 skills on your crew members, and you can't transfer them between tanks, which I think is a really good thing. I really like that mechanic. And then also your commanders are different as well. Commanders, you can mount the same commander in like 500 different vehicles if you wanted to, with no penalty whatsoever. It can be different nations, it can be different dealers. You can put the commander in every single one. If we take a look at this commander tab, you can see the commanders that I have. I have not unlocked Andri, whatever his last name is. But you can see that you can like promote your commanders and bring them up to levels. And as you do that, you can look at their skills, and you can unlock different skills. And there's so many different types of skills, so you can really customize each commander to perform a very specific role and to do exactly what you want them to. And it's for this reason I love the crew system in this game. I think it's absolutely amazing. The upgrades I think is also really cool. Uh, yeah, you get this. Oh, one other thing. Your tier 8 vehicle. Okay, for tier 1 to tier 8, it's very similar to World of Tanks. Um, you you max it out, you go to the next tank. You max it out, you unlock the next tank. However, at tier 8, it's a little bit different. Let's say I had the type 92. I maxed it out and I unlocked the 9910. I maxed the 9910 out and I unlocked the type 99. Now, once I max out the type 99, then I can research or use a tier 9 unlock token, and this token allows you to research any tier 9 non-premium vehicle in that dealer. So that's really useful in my opinion, and so that's really cool, awesome thing. And the same thing with tier 9. So once I get the type 99A, maybe I use my token on it, but I don't have to. But if I did, and I max the tier 9 out, then I could get a tier 10 unlock token. I think this is a really cool mechanic. So then I could do the Wilkes XC8, and I don't even have to have gone down that line to own it. So yeah, I could have only been up to this far in the line, get maxed out my type or type 99A, use my tier 10 unlock token to unlock this vehicle, and wham, I'm in this line. I think that's kind of cool. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. If you spent all this time in the line and you're like, this line really isn't for me, you can just not go to the tier 9 and 10 in that line. So I think that's kind of cool. I personally am still going to go down the designated path in most cases, but yeah. As you can see, I have made a lot of progress in this game. It's not bad. And there's that. Now, one other thing, this unlock system is a little bit different than World of Tanks. So if we take a look at this, you can research different upgrade modules with the experience that you earn. That is not different. However, there's other things you can do. The first is you can unlock, there's like this other tab, and you can use experience for different things. The first being, you can use unused experience to research, I guess, free experience, and you add those to your free experience. Or you can pay some gold, like let's say the M60 was my favorite tier 3. I loved it. I played it all the time. You can make any non-premium vehicle a premium tank by paying gold. And I think that's really cool, because if there's a non-premium vehicle that you absolutely love and you don't want to spend money on buying a premium, then you don't have to. You can just make your non-premium a premium vehicle. So that's really cool. And then also, you don't actually have to research the next vehicle. You just have to fill out this progress bar. So if we take a look up here at the, let's say, Leopard 2A6, I need to earn 1.62 million experience in it, which does sound daunting, but when you have those events, when you stack your boosters, when you do all that stuff, it's not bad. I've gone through an entire tier 9 vehicle in about a week. And that's not like I've been playing it exclusively. I've been playing a whole bunch of different vehicles, and I've gone through a whole tier 9 in 1 week. So it is daunting, but heck, I've made almost like 300,000 credit or experience in one battle. So it's not bad, guys. The grind really isn't that bad. It might be a little bit bad until you get those boosters, until you get that type of stuff, but it's not bad once you do. And once you start getting those boosters, they just keep like flooding in. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you just fill out this bar and then you unlock all the next vehicles. Although tier 9 and tier 8 are exceptions, but let's say you had this M60A3. you fill out your experience bar that you have, and it's not higher because there's more vehicles you can unlock. But once you fill out that bar, all the vehicles in the next, or the progression vehicles, are unlocked automatically. So I think that's a cool change as well. Um, so yeah, that's that. And that really about covers it. You have gold just like World of Tanks. You have credits just like World of Tanks. Now here, the top number is your free experience. The bottom number is the unused experience from deleted vehicles. So vehicles that you no longer need experience with, you can convert it for gold. So I have 16.5 million experience that I could convert if I wanted to. I'm not gonna, but something to keep in mind. And with that being said, I think I've covered basically everything I wanted to, at least the main mechanics. Make sure you click on HQ, and this brings up this menu. Vehicles, commanders, all that type of stuff. And although there are loot crates in the game, they're actually very useful. You can get some really good stuff out of there, including premium tanks. And you can get all those premium loot crates for free. I don't even know if there really is an option to purchase them. I'm sure there is sometimes, but for all intents and purposes, those loot crates are not designed to be purchased. They're literally designed to be in-game rewards, and if you're going to have loot crates in the game, that is really the best way to do it. Because if I put money into the game, I'm not getting an advantage over someone who doesn't put money into the game for purchasing loot crates. So that's really cool. Loot crates don't bother me in this game. Also, I would like to mention, I have 6 days of premium time, and if you guys know me at all, I don't spend money for premium account. I just don't. And all this is free. I've earned all of them from loot crates that I've earned in game from events. You get a day. I have a day of premium. I have a 3-day premium time thing. I've got 2 7 days premium. I'll be sitting in premium for quite a while, and I'm close to unlocking another week of premium. So I'm going to kind of grind toward that and try to unlock that. But my point is this. This game is fun. The progression doesn't seem terrible. It fixes a lot of things that World of Tanks does wrong, and to me, it's a fun game. I stopped playing this game for a long time after their big update 2.0. I was highly against it, but after putting it off for about 2 years, I've come back, and it feels really good, guys. It feels really good. So here is my offer. Here is my invitation to come and give Armored Warfare a try. It can be a little bit tricky to get started when you don't have premium, when you don't have boosters, and honestly, I'm sorry, but once you get to a tier 5 vehicle, credits no longer are a huge obstacle. Tier 1, let me give you a quick overview on how to gain experience as quickly as possible and go up the lines as quickly as possible when you're first starting. The first thing, your tier 1 vehicles, you're really only going to be able to get a PvE mission, and that's what you're going to want to do anyway to kind of get familiarized with the game itself. So you do easy PvE, you make your small amount of experience and credits and stuff, and then you unlock your tier 2. You get your tier 2 and don't do this standard PvE anymore. Instead, go to this story mode, because you actually get a bonus to your credits and your experience per battle when you're doing story mode. Unlike, you don't get any bonus when you're doing this standard PvE. No bonus, no bonus. So yes, don't do standard PvE when you get to tier 2. Do the story mode to get your experience and credits. Once you are at tier 3, then you can choose either the story mode or challenging PvE, because you do make the same amount, 15%, 50%. And if we take a look at here, 15 and 50. So you can do that either way. But tier 2, do your story mode. And there's that. Also, one other thing, if you go to Dossier, your replays are under history. So you click on Dossier, click on history, and then you can enable replays right there. You pull up your replays tab, and look at that, all my replays. And as you can see, I have videos lined up and ready to go. But there's that, and what was I just talking about? Oh yeah, progression. So yeah, you do that and you're set. If you go to Dossier, I wanted to show you something here and I totally forgot. If we go to achievements and you scroll down to the Caucus conflict, there's you can actually get some extra stuff. So if you do that story mode a certain amount of times, if you do it 20 times, you get 3 million credits. So there you go. Your credit issue is solved at low tiers, which you are going to have a problem with until you get to tier 5. But I highly suggest do your story mode over and over and over and over again in one vehicle and complete it 20 times in that one vehicle or that one type of vehicle. You get 3 million credits, you get some extra free experience, and it is done. Um, that is my invitation. That is my advice for starting the game. Vehicles that I would start out with, well, I haven't played a whole lot of these since I came back, at least not low tiers. The LAV 150 is a great vehicle. I think a lot of people would enjoy that. It's lightly armored, but it's got an amazing gun. Alternatively, the Scimitar and go down this light tank line. I think the light tank line is really fun. And yeah, those are the two lines I would suggest going down first. They're fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please consider coming over to Armored Warfare, and if you do, don't hesitate to invite me to a platoon. I play on the EU server, although I live in North America. There's a long story behind that. I'm not going to go into it now. I do have a North American account with quite a bit of progress in it. I do have more progress on the EU server, and so if you do want to play with me in battle, you will have to come to the EU server. A common question I get is, well, isn't there a lot more lag on the EU server? And that is certainly not true. I get about 80 to 90 ping on the North American server, and I only get about 110 to 120 ping on the EU server. So, no, the ping is not bad on the EU server. I myself thought it would be terrible, like in the 200s, but it really isn't. Not bad, not bad at all. Um, so yeah, that is that. This game is a lot of fun. If you do enjoy World of Tanks, I think you would enjoy this game a lot. It fixes, in my opinion, my humble opinion, it fixes a lot of things that are wrong with World of Tanks. And it feels really good. It's fun, it's fast paced, the progression is amazing. Artillery, you don't have to worry about artillery. You're working cooperatively, which I think is kind of cool, although PvP is available, and I have been doing that and having fun with it recently. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.